In transfer pricing, functional analysis is fundamental to determining how value is created within a multinational enterprise. By understanding the role each entity plays, be it manufacturing, distribution, or service provision, companies can set prices that reflect the arm's length principle accurately. Functional profiles delineate these roles and help in determining the appropriate transfer pricing methods. This article explores three primary functional profiles in transfer pricing: manufacturers, distributors, and service providers. Manufacturers produce goods for sale, varying in their level of risk and ownership of intellectual property. Functional profile of a manufacturer in transfer pricing can generally be divided into three categories. Fully-fledged manufacturer. Fully-fledged manufacturers bear significant risks, including market risk, production risk, and sometimes IP-related risks. They often own valuable intangibles such as patents or proprietary technologies. As these entities assume greater risks, they warrant a higher profit level. In transfer pricing, the comparable profits method, CPM, or transactional net margin method, TNMM, is often employed to evaluate arm's-length returns for fully-fledged manufacturers. Contract manufacturer. Contract manufacturers, in contrast, typically produce goods under a contract with a related entity that owns the IP and absorbs most of the market and inventory risks. The contract manufacturer generally earns a fixed return, regardless of the product's market success, and operates with limited entrepreneurial functions. This low-risk functional profile often justifies a lower return. Transfer pricing for contract manufacturers may rely on the cost-plus method, where a markup is added to production costs to arrive at an arm's-length price. Toll manufacturer. Toll manufacturers produce goods for another party without taking ownership of raw materials or finished products. They provide processing services for a fee and assume almost no risk. Toll manufacturers' functional profile is closer to a service provider than a typical manufacturer, as they act purely as processing agents. Their remuneration is usually based on a straightforward cost-plus markup. Distributors are responsible for the sale and distribution of goods. Their functional profile and risk level can vary, impacting the transfer pricing considerations. Distributor profiles generally fall into three types: full-risk distributor. Full-risk distributors assume substantial risks, including inventory, credit, and market risks. These distributors make independent pricing decisions and may engage in marketing efforts. As they bear high risks, full-risk distributors justify higher returns. Transfer pricing for these distributors may involve the resale price method, RPM, where the arm's-length gross margin is determined by examining comparable third-party distributors. Limited risk distributor. Limited risk distributors, as the name suggests, have reduced risk exposure, often because the pricing and marketing strategies are directed by a related party. They typically have a guaranteed return, regardless of sales performance, limiting their operational risks. The TNMM is frequently applied to limited risk distributors, focusing on net profit margins relative to their limited functional responsibilities. Commissionaire. Commissionaires operate on behalf of a principal company, often without taking legal ownership of goods. They earn a commission on sales rather than a full distribution margin, operating with minimal risks. This type of distributor is akin to an agent, as it acts as an intermediary. As a result, a commissionaire's functional profile justifies a low-margin, cost-plus return structure, reflecting their limited involvement and risk. Service providers support the broader operations of multinational enterprises, spanning a wide range of activities. Service profiles can also vary based on the degree of independence and risk undertaken. Key types of service providers include routine service provider. Routine service providers offer essential support services, such as IT, finance, or HR, with limited strategic involvement and decision-making power. They typically operate at cost-plus arrangements, receiving a markup on their costs, reflecting their low-risk nature. The TNMM is commonly applied for these services, setting a fair return based on external service comparables. Limited risk service provider. Technical service providers deliver specialized services that may involve proprietary knowledge or IP, but are not directly tied to revenue generation. These providers might include engineering or technical support, where they add specific value through expertise. Although technical service providers can be remunerated using cost-plus models, the markup is usually higher than routine services, recognizing the added value of expertise. Full-fledged service provider. Unlike routine or technical service providers, entrepreneurial service providers bear substantial risk and may engage in significant strategic decision-making, particularly in R&D or advisory services. Due to their entrepreneurial functions and risk-bearing capacity, they may require higher returns. The CPM, or even profit split methods, may be appropriate, especially if they share the IP rights or results with related parties. Assigning a functional profile is an essential step in the transfer pricing process. The following considerations are central in defining functional roles within multinational groups. Risk assessment. Understanding who bears market, credit, operational, and other business risks helps establish which entities should earn higher returns. Full risk profiles generally command higher profit margins, while limited risk profiles justify stable, modest returns. Asset ownership. Entities that own valuable intangibles or fixed assets essential for production or service delivery are considered to have a more significant functional profile and, therefore, merit higher compensation. Functional activities. The actual functions performed, including decision-making authority, control over processes, and strategic influence, play a key role. For instance, a toll manufacturer's activities are straightforward compared to a fully-fledged manufacturer with substantial control over production. Contractual arrangements. Written agreements defining the terms of intercompany transactions are instrumental in classifying functional profiles. Contractual terms can support functional analysis by detailing which entity performs specific functions and assumes particular risks. In transfer pricing, functional profiles are not just technical classifications. They provide a systematic approach to allocating profits within multinational enterprises. By analyzing manufacturers, distributors, and service providers, companies can ensure that profits align with value creation, minimizing tax exposure. Proper functional classification enhances compliance and facilitates the application of appropriate transfer pricing methodologies, helping multinational enterprises address tax authority scrutiny effectively. With transfer pricing constantly evolving, a robust understanding of functional profiles can be an essential tool in maintaining compliance and achieving fair, defensible outcomes in intercompany pricing.